Camper vans, caravans, workshops, sheds, off-grid properties and boats. These diesel heaters are very popular and for very good reason. They are easy to set up, easy to use and very affordable. So this kit that you see here cost me £77 in February 2026. I purchased it from Amazon. I'm not sponsored by this company at all. It is made by VEVOR and I chose this because it is a 8 kilowatt unit and it was a very attractive price point. This is going to be a secondary diesel heater on my boat. So the issue that I have on my sailboat is I don't have an outlet in the head or in the V-berth of my sailboat. So those two areas on there are very much its own environment. Now the good thing about the diesel heaters is not only do they heat up, they also help circulate the air and dry it out, which makes it a lot more comfortable. And so I wanted to set this up before installing it on the boat, just to make sure that everything's working correctly and I have everything that I needed. The kit here is very suitable for things like camper vans. So I do want to buy a van and convert it, and this kit here is everything that you need. For my sailboat, I'm going to need a few different things because you must install them this way up. And the bracket that is provided, which you'll see shortly, is just flush, which is meant to go on the metal base of things like a camper van. I've made my own little bracket, but I will be purchasing a proper one, but this is just a test setup. One of the reasons why they're very popular is because they're very easy to connect up. Even if you don't bother reading the instructions, you can figure it out as you go along. For example, when it comes to the electronic components, it comes in its own wiring harness and the adapters are very unique. So you can't accidentally plug in the remote control with the fuel pump, for example, or the actual main unit itself. You won't be able to do it. When it comes to powering the unit, so I've actually snipped off the connections for the batteries. So they run on a 12-volt battery as the electronic part. So if you have a camper van or a caravan or a sailboat, you would connect it directly to the battery itself. You won't go through a distribution panel or anything, directly to the battery, and it does have its own 20 amp inline fuse. What I've done here is I've actually cut the ring terminals off and I'm using something called an AC/DC power. So it effectively makes a 12-volt system into a regular power plug. So that's the only modification that I've done here. When I take it to the sailboat, there's a few modifications that I'm going to do, which I'll go into a little bit throughout the video. When it comes to the exhaust will only fit on the exhaust housing itself, and the fresh air intake will only fit on the fresh air. So although initially they look the same size, you cannot get it wrong. The only thing really you need to concern yourself with is with the exhaust. The exhaust will get extremely hot. So you really need to be wary of what the material you're pulling it through. For my sailboat, it's made of fiberglass, and with the fiberglass, I actually have a through-hole fitting specially designed for these diesel heaters. For my experiment, I'm pulling it through a cat flap. Now there are no cats in the area. The previous owner had one and it is kind of boarded up. But you do need to have the exhaust going outside of the vehicle. And that is pretty much the only really thing that you need to watch out for. In the manual, it does specifically state you use diesel and you only use diesel for them. People do run them on kerosene, which is slightly cleaner burn apparently, but it does specifically say in this model, do not use them. And I've also seen people connect them up to radiators and plumb them in through the exhaust and use an exhaust gas recirculation valve. Personally, I would not do that because although it seems like a very good idea, when you're burning the diesel, you're going to start getting some soot buildup. And you know, the radiators are not designed to put gas through them, they're designed to put liquid through. So over time, I think that you might have a problem. Could be wrong, but I wouldn't risk it. With the Chinese diesel heaters, they come with these 10-litre tanks and you will see the fuel inside them. There are no distinctive marks to tell you how many litres you have left. All of the fixtures and fittings are inside of the tank, so all of these mounts here were inside the tank, including the little nib at the bottom. You do need to make a hole in it, which is 7.5 millimeters. And if you are using a drill piece, just make sure you don't cut through this. There's two different types. There's one with the fuel filler cap on the side here or at the top in the middle. I was watching an episode of my favorite van lifer and he was talking about he has his underneath his bed and it's very easy to fill your diesel through to the side here. So if you are not going to go for the VEVOR one that I have, and then maybe consider one with the cap on the side. For me, if I was to do a van conversion, I would actually tap into the main fuel tank itself rather than having the fuel tank inside. If I was to do a home installation, I would buy a bigger fuel tank, and I'd probably hide it within like a planter just to make it look a bit nicer, so you wouldn't know that the diesel tank is there. The kits are pretty much the same across the board. There's only a few little differences between them. I went for the 8 kilowatt diesel heater because it came with a lot of good reviews. Technically they're parking heaters, and they come with a flush mount designed to be mounted on a metal floor. The exhaust comes in 3 parts. You have the main exhaust hose, you have the silencer, and then you have the exhaust cladding. Now the exhaust cladding will have moisture on it and an oil residue which will smoke. There's a lot of fixtures and fittings, cable ties and hose clamps. I will be getting new hose clamps for my boat install. The wiring harness has ring terminals and a 20 amp fuse inside. The 3 connections are all unique. The wired control pad and a wireless remote does not come with batteries. The control panel has a timer setting on it, and with the wireless remote it will work up to 30 meters. A flexible fuel hose, which I'll be switching over to a marine grade one on the boat, and then you have the oil pump or fuel pump for it. You get a 10 litre fuel tank, which we'll go into a little bit more detail later on in the video. The fittings for the fuel tank that you'll find actually inside the fuel tank, along with an instruction manual. The fresh air intake along with its very own filter, and you also get a short run of ducting, which is perfectly fine for a camper van, but I will need to buy extra long ducting for my boat. My camera battery ran out, which is why I'm using some of the footage from the how-to, which we'll go on to next. Chapter 1 starts off with the fuel tank, which is a 10 litre fuel tank, and inside the fuel tank that's where you'll find the fixtures and fittings. And to install it, what we're going to be doing is putting in a 7.5mm hole in the bottom, and the instructions say that use a metal wire in order to get the nib through the bottom. However, what I've done here is I've bent the exhaust that it came with, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the electrical tape and the nib that's going to go into the bottom to guide it in. So let's do that. Just to be clear, the electrical tape is my own, it did not come with the kit, and I've done 2 wraps around the pipe here because I don't want to lose the tape within the tank. And then with the fuel nib that was part of the fuel tank, I just put a small amount of electrical tape around it, so that way it will separate from the pipe when I push it in. It does help to have the fuel nozzle on a little bit of an angle as you're guiding it through, and then if you have a pin ready, then you can help guide it through the hole when it's through the other side. It took me about 3 attempts, but when I fit this on the boat, I will be installing it into the actual main fuel tank itself. And if you grab a pair of pliers, you'll be able to pull the nozzle through to a reasonable amount before you put on the nut. Now it's time to remove the exhaust hose, and there you go, you can see the tape has come back with the stick and the nozzle is in. It's 12mm. For the fuel nozzle, if you hold it with some pliers and then use a spanner to tighten it up. I'm fixing my fuel tank to 2 pieces of wood for my test bench, that way I can tip out the fuel and measure it more accurately later on. Now that we've got the fuel tank in place, you can see that the nib sticks out, which is why you need the gap between. Now I want to put my fuel filter in line here, so I'm going to use the one that came with the kit. When I go to the boat, I'm actually going to get a bigger size version of this for the inline filter, but we need to put the hose in between. And for the hose, inside your bag of bits and bobs, you're going to get these little clips inside, and basically squeeze them together and you'll be able to put the hose over. So what I've got here is some hot water, and to put the hose on, if you're using it when the hose is cold, it's quite hard to put them on, but if you get the hot water, it's a little bit easier to slide them on. And I find a cloth within some pliers works out pretty great because the cloth helps protect the fuel line from being damaged as you're basically forcing it on. If you have any of your own tips you'd like to share with others, then please leave them in the comments below, and if you are finding the video very helpful, then please leave a like. And if you do like these type of project videos, please let me know and I'll continue to make some more of them, and welcome if you end up subscribing. I do a mixture of content depending what I'm up to. A lot of it is project based around the boat or my car, and then I go off on some adventures from time to time. Make sure you put the fuel clamps on before you actually attach the hose, because you can't get them on once the hose is attached. And the way the fuel filter goes on is the empty side goes towards the fuel tank and the filter side goes towards the device. With the fuel tank out of the way, it's time to start mounting the actual unit. Now the base plate that it comes with is suitable for vans because you must install it this way. You can't install it sideways or upside down. The instructions basically say that fuel will go back into here and basically upset the unit, so you must do it this way around. So if you were doing a van build, for example, and you were pulling it in the van, you would drill holes into the floor and then you put your base plate and then you would seal it all up using high temperature sealant. I am doing it on a boat, so this piece of wood here is actually the same size as my locker where I'm going to be installing the unit, so I'm going to try and fit it to here as best as I can. I might need to get a new bracket. However, I did buy some separate universal mounting brackets just for this test, so we'll go on with the next episode what I've decided to do after that. So let's mount it up. I've just added the exhaust and the exhaust cladding. At the top here I've got two Jubilee clips. One holds to the unit and the other one holds up the exhaust cladding itself, and then down here there's a L bracket, so that did not come with the kit. I purchased that, and the reason I added it is to stop the pipe moving around. We'll go on to the fuel pump now. It does have an arrow telling you which way the fuel will go, so we want it pointing away from the tank and into the unit. You've got to mount it at a 45-degree angle, and this rubber mount here is how you mount it. So we'll put that on here. So this helps stop the vibration. They do make a clicking sound. Now I did read that a few people add Play-Doh around there just to stop it with the noise. I've not had a problem on my boat with my current diesel heater, but maybe with two of them clicking away, who knows. And I'm installing the fuel hoses as we're going along this project, along with the clamps, and then we need to put on the fresh air intake and the filter, which should be pointed to the back of the vehicle. Project's coming along quite nicely. As you can see, I've clamped the fresh air intake in to the board, and with that I've connected the fuel hose to it using the cable ties which were provided in there, so that way there's no way it's going to touch the exhaust outlet. But let's talk about the electronics now. The way that these units work, so they provide heat by burning the diesel, but they also have electronic parts to them as well to basically put it over. If you have like a camper van or a boat, you tend to have two batteries. One is a starter battery, which does your engine, and then your second one is like your house bank, which is like your leisurely stuff. Now, because I'm doing this at home, I don't have a 12-volt battery lying around, so I purchased myself this little gizmo here. And what this does, it basically makes your 12-volt battery into regular wall plug socket. So what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to chop the ends off this one and strip them down, and chop the ends off on those ones, and then I'm just going to join them together nice and easy with these. When I'm on the boat, I will kind of actually join them together, but as I said, this is just a little experiment. But if you are planning to install something like this at home, you can get the more kind of all-in-one built units which look a lot prettier than this. I'll put the link in the description below for them. AC to DC, chop the ring terminals off and join them with this. Goes into a 20 amp fuse, and then it's just a case of plugging the other stuff in now. One's going to go to the fuel pump, which is over here. This one is in the main control unit, which is here. And then this one will go into the control panel, like so. I took everything outside and connected the fuel tank to the diesel heater, and I connected the AC to DC power unit to the Bluetti power station, and now we need to prime the pump. The screen will ask you to set the time first, so to get off that you can just hit settings and then you'll see this P12. From that P12, hold the up and down arrow for about 3 seconds, then you should start priming the pump. You'll see the logo on the bottom left. If you run out of fuel, or if it's the first time you're doing the diesel heater, there's no fuel in the lines, which is why you need to prime the pump. And you want the fuel to go to about 1 inch away from the unit before you start it up. My unit, I had to press and hold the button to prime the pump for the whole time, rather than the 300 seconds that it's meant to do it. Best thing to do is start these things up outside, because they can smoke when they first start. So the reason they can smoke is, first they use like a protective film in the factories to stop them like rusting inside if they're going to be in storage for a long time. The smoke you can see here is actually from the exhaust cladding. So again, they put like a special coating on the exhaust cladding, and it does smell and it does smoke. And if we take a little bit closer at the exhaust, you'll see what I mean. I removed the exhaust cladding and you can see there's no smoke at all on there. The other reason they can smoke is if you over prime the fuel, which means there's too much fuel within the unit. The heat cladding might change colour, don't worry about it. Again, just let it burn off for a little while. But I'm just letting it run just to get all the smoke and all the fumes out before we start testing it inside the actual fuel consumption itself. But effectively this is a off-grid system. So here we have the heater, which is running on diesel, and it's powered as well by the Bluetti power station. And the way I charge the Bluetti power station is I got these 3 large solar panels. They're around 450 watts each. Eventually they're going to go on the flat roof here, and I'm going to buy a bigger power station, or I might just do what I've done on the boat and basically just build a kind of modular system on there. I'm going to be testing out the fuel efficiency of the diesel heater on full. Remember, it's the 8 kilowatt version, and here I've marked out 1 litre of diesel, and I'm going to run the test bench for 1 hour, and then I'll pour the remaining diesel back into a jug to see how much it's been used. This is how I'm doing the test settings. So I've poured 1 litre into the jug and then used it for an hour, and then I'm just decanting it back into the jugs to figure out how much I've used up. I'm using red diesel that I can get from my marina, which is at 88 pence per 1 litre of diesel. This 8 kilowatt diesel heater has cost me nearly 27 pence to run on full for 1 hour. As I'm editing the video while I'm testing out the lowest setting, I just thought I'd run some numbers. On the left we have the domestic rates, which is pretty much 28 pence per 1 kilowatt of electricity, and gas is 6 pence per kilowatt. And if we compare that to what the diesel heater output is, then you can see that it costs the equivalent of 3 pence per 1 kilowatt. I'm just doing the editing now. So the test setup area that we've got here is the kitchen, which is this big. So it measures 4 meters across by about 7 meters long. And then it has a utility room, and then the back room is about 4 meters by 5 meters. And it is 20 degrees in here. Now I did a few calculations. If you went to the fuel pump and paid £1.40 for a litre, to have it on full blast using the 8 kilowatts of heat, it would cost 42 pence to run on full heat, which is the equivalent of 1 kilowatt would be 5 pence. So bear that in mind, because when you have your radiator on and it's a 2 kilowatt radiator, you use 2 kilowatts per hour. So this is actually the only thermometer that I have. So this is like 18 degrees, oh it's 20. The way this works is when it gets warmer, these actually start to drop. And so earlier when it hit 18 degrees, and now it's 20. But it's also a dry 20 as well, which is very different. This is on the low setting down here. In the same test but on the lowest setting, I had basically 200 milliliters used on this test. Overall, I'm very happy with the unit, and I'll be installing it on the boat in a few weeks time. But yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for being fans. Thanks for sticking around and liking the video if you have. Welcome back if you're a subscriber, and welcome if you are new. The links for any of the products that I've used in the video are in the description below, but you've got the QR code at the top at no extra cost to you. But thanks for watching, thanks for being fans.